What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler. In this video, we want to rank all 11 Star Wars movies. So I'm going to go very quickly. I'm going to go from 11 to 1. I'm going to very briefly give the reasons why each movie is in it. Now, we have included Solo, and we have also included Rogue One in this list, so it's not just the 9 movies. So here we go. I'm going to try and go as fast as I can. Obviously, there's a lot of movies. At number 11, I put Attack of the Clones. This movie is just really, really bad. I think, and when you look at episodes 1 and 2, you can look at episode 1 and at least say that Darth Maul, all the Darth Maul scenes, even Qui-Gon, there's a lot to there. I mean, there is not that much, but there is some enjoyable moments of episode 1, some things you can latch onto to say, hey, this is, like, there's something here, right? Attack of the Clones, actually growing up, I've always really liked the Colosseum scene and all the Jedi fighting, but I mean, it's just aged all so terribly. Those scenes just look really, really bad, even though they are kind of okay, but beyond literally that one scene, maybe the last 20 minutes of the film, the rest of this film, I believe, is complete garbage, and there's really, in my opinion, I never, I really don't have any reason to watch this movie, and that's the main reason. I really feel like just overall this movie is the weakest of all of them. Number 10 is The Last Jedi. Now, visually, amazing. Acting-wise, better than 1, 2, and 3, and probably even better than some of the originals, because the originals, acting-wise, is kind of spotty at times, but the decision making, we've talked about it a lot. I just can't get behind it. And we were very anti Episode 8 when this movie came out. We made tons of videos about it. And I think just the main decision making, and you see it now with Episode 9. Yes, there's plenty to blame on JJ. There's plenty to blame on Episode 9 itself. And maybe you really like Episode 9. And I've seen people kind of come back around to Episode 8 was severely flawed, and a lot of people didn't like it. I still see people saying that Episode 8 is their favorite, or Episode 8 was the best one. And if you think that, that's totally cool. It's just that, yes, it was very bold. Yes, it took things in different directions, but I really feel like not only did it ruin what they built in 7, but we also kind of knew, okay, it's going to be very hard to keep going with this for Episode 9. And what we saw is a lot of just ignoring, a lot of trying to retconning it, kind of, but not really. And that ultimately leads to, in my opinion, a very, very flawed Episode 9. And you could blame a lot of it. Not most of it, not the entire thing, but some of it you could blame on Episode 8. Episode 8 is just a movie that I don't think, I do think I'll end up going back and watching it in the future, 10 years from now. I'm not saying I'm never going to see this movie again, but this is not one of the movies that I would expect me to, play once a year or once every other year, something like that. I feel like I will go back to watch it, but honestly, not very much. Number 9, and I guess these two can kind of be switched with me, 9 and 8. 9 is The Phantom Menace. Again, I've kind of already just talked about the reasons why with Attack of the Clones. It's very bad. I mean, it is. I think it's truly terrible. It's saved by a couple of really good things. I was going to say scenes, but Darth Maul is in more than one scene. He's not in many scenes. He's in 4, but he is in them. And he's just absolutely amazing, right? I think Darth Maul is probably, I'm a really big fan of Grievous. Besides him, though, I think Maul is one of the greatest things to come out of that prequel trilogy. Definitely the Duel of Fates, at the end is absolutely incredible, and still one of the best, if not the best lightsaber fight that we've ever gotten in Star Wars. Very, you could debate it. You could say Anakin, Obi-Wan in 3. You could even probably say Rey, Kylo in 9. I actually would say that as well. But definitely Darth Maul is absolutely up there. And those scenes alone, I mean, if you just watch the movie for those scenes, you can definitely get enjoyment out of it. I think it easily puts it above the rest, or the ones I just said, but still the rest of this movie holds it back from any of the others. Number 8, I put Solo, A Star Wars Story. There's nothing I'd say terrible. I'd say this is probably where the line gets drawn, where you could argue that my 9, 10, 11 are terrible movies, or at least I would say they're terrible Star Wars movies. Solo, there's nothing downright awful about it. It's just it doesn't need to be there. It's not even it doesn't have heart, because I think a lot of the acting is very well done. I think they're definitely trying, obviously, with all the throwbacks and stuff. They tried with this movie. I just feel like there was so much going on in the background of it, in terms of firing the directors and switching them out when the movie was almost already done, stuff like that. And at the end of the day, nobody was asking for this. Nobody was asking for a Han Solo origin film, and clearly by the box office, nobody cared and nobody went to see it either. I did see it. I believe I saw it night 1. I think I saw it opening night. It's not bad. It's not a bad. I walked out being like, hey, This is better than episode 8. This is like solid. It's just like I don't think I will ever watch this film again. There's just nothing really there that like captures me that's like, oh yeah, I need to go back for repeat viewings of it. Honestly, there's nothing. And even though, there's still some iffy ones right above this, 7 and 6 and stuff like that I'll get to in a second, I will most likely go back to watch those multiple times because there's just something there that's not there in Solo. That brings me to number 7, Revenge of the Sith, episode 3. This is debatable too. My next one, number 6, is Rise of the Skywalker. I'm unsure of where they fit. But right now, even though of all the negative things I've said about Rise of Skywalker on this channel, I'd say it's the 6th best Star Wars film, right above Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith has some amazing moments. It really does. It's got some of my favorite moments in any Star Wars movie ever. But, and I just rewatched it leading into Episode 9. I watched it like 4 nights before Episode 9. It still has so many problems, and it's more or less a situation of what could have been. Like, yeah, it's definitely the most well put together one of the three prequels, but it's still not much, right? There's still so much more it could have been. The decision making in episode 3 is kind of spotty. The acting is extremely spotty. There's just a lot of things that are like, it's weird. It's a very torn movie because there's some amazing moments, amazing scenes, even some pretty solid characters, especially Obi-Wan, and then there's just some absolutely awful moments or awful characters, awful character developments. Just I could keep going on, but really the bad holds this movie back, but the good keeps it in this kind of respectable-ish level. And again, number 6, Rise of the Skywalker. For all the bad I've said, the movie has a lot of heart. It's got a lot. It's trying to do the best it can, I believe. It doesn't do it all very well, but it definitely tries its best. It's a big spectacle is what I kind of look at Episode 9 as. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen. It's if you turn your brain off and you just, in my opinion, now if you like it because of how deep it is in certain things, that's totally cool. I just don't agree, and it's fine that we don't agree. I think 9, if I just don't care about the lore or like actual big things about Star Wars, and I'm just watching things happening on screen, it's very, very solid. Again, there's a lot of great characters. The acting, I mean, everybody, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, they're all fantastic actors. So it's well acted. It looks visually amazing. It's just the decision making, and really the decision making and the big things like that. And really, I believe no big kind of like thrust behind these huge spectacle moments. Like there's not really much, or when you think about them, they don't exactly all make sense. I feel like that is what holds the movie back from being higher on my list. Number 5 is A New Hope. Very, very solid movie. Great starting point. It's aged the least well, I believe, of the original. It's still very, very good. There's a lot to like about it. I think it's a more solid overall movie than any of the movies I've already listed. But it doesn't do enough to keep moving up, and that's because number 4 is The Force Awakens. I think it's a better New Hope. Now, you could argue how well Force Awakens holds up now, considering what's happened. Does what the mystery, because Episode 7, Force Awakens, was pretty much A New Hope, but then also like all this mystery and all this new stuff that could have been so much more. And now that we've seen where that was leading to, whether or not it was intended, and most of it probably wasn't intended because of what happened in 8, you still look at it, and if you take that away from it, it's still pretty much A New Hope, right? But if you look at it just for what it is, if you just watch Episode 7, in my opinion, and you don't think about where it's going, or maybe you just make up your own story, maybe that was the only movie that came out and you got to come up with the rest, I think it's a very, very good movie, a movie that definitely I think will still stand the test of time. Again, very well acted, very well shot. Love a lot of the decision making, love a lot of the mystery that I believe they were hinting at bigger things going forward and they were just never able to fully accomplish. So I think this is definitely one of the better ones. This one is tough. Rogue One, I put at number 3. This one goes back and forth. Rogue One at 3 and Rogue One at 2. Rogue One is just phenomenal. It's not even a good Star Wars movie. It's a good overall movie. It's a good spy movie. It's a good, just action-y drama kind of thing. There's so much heart. There's so much emotion. The characters are so fantastic. The action scenes are amazing. Literally everything about this movie. There's the best Darth Vader scene that we've ever seen in it. It's just an absolute phenomenal movie. I love it from start to finish. I love all the side characters. I love the ending, even though the ending isn't even the original ending they had intended for. Just absolutely a phenomenal film and one that I routinely go back to watch. But it's tough. number 3, number 2. Number 2, I put Return of the Jedi. And I feel like I would have put Rogue One higher if I didn't just watch Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi has so many amazing, amazing moments. Now, it doesn't hold up as well as I originally, like, it was my favorite of those 3, of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. This one was always my favorite. Now that these movies, I've continuously watched them, I think it's dropped to at least 2, right? There's some weak scenes there. There's some things that definitely hold this movie back. There's a lot of absolutely amazing. Every throne room scene in this movie is the absolute greatest thing that's ever happened. There are some in this movie. There are some of the best scenes ever. There's some amazing comedic moments. There's some amazing scenes in general. It's just they stay on Endor a bit too long. The Ewoks, they're cool, but again, that whole thing is really stretched out. They actually don't do all that much in this movie. Not the Ewoks, the movie. Like, it doesn't take place in that many locations over that much time. They really kind of like wait it out for a very long period of time. So I feel like that hurts the movie. It just doesn't have the feel of Empire. It's impossible to replicate that, and that was never the goal. But I think it just couldn't capture the magic of 5 again. It's still a tremendous film. Again, it's still my second favorite, but it holds it back from number 1. And number 1, obviously, is Empire Strikes Back. Phenomenal film for all the reasons everybody has always told you. The fact that Luke loses continuously. It's a very character-building movie. It's amazing. Every single scene in this movie is truly awesome. Yeah, do the effects always hold up? No, there's some things that definitely don't. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter. The film, from a Star Wars point of view, it's fantastic, and even just from a movie point of view, the movie is shot, and the idea of what they're trying to do. Again, villains win. The villain wins. Darth Vader's his father. You got to put yourself back in the moment that happened, too, where you didn't know that. Just so many groundbreaking things happened, and just the tone of the movie. We have never seen that from a Star Wars movie, for sure, and also just a lot of movies don't do that in general, so it's a very, very unique film, not just a Star Wars film, but a film in general. So, guys, that's my ranking. I'm going to hand it over to Tyler now for his.
Okay, so here are my favorite to least favorite Star Wars films. The first one is Empire Strikes Back. I never actually would have put it there before, which I know I'm one of the weird people who wouldn't have thought that The Empire Strikes Back is one of the best Star Wars films. But after rewatching some clips, watching other things, regarding Episode 5, I actually do think that it probably is the best Star Wars film, and this is the very simple reason why. I feel like overall, like all the different planets, the Hoth battle I really, really like. Obviously Luke versus Vader, introducing Yoda. Just overall, I feel like it's kind of Star Wars in a nutshell is the best way to put it. You got, some of the space battle, you got the lightsaber battles, you got the war element. Just overall, I just feel like, in a nutshell, if you want to introduce someone to Star Wars, I feel like that would be the film to do it. So that's why it's my number 1. The Force Awakens is my second favorite. It comes before Return of the Jedi for me. That's another one where you watch it, it's fun, it doesn't feel fast, but it does sort of feel fast. I liked the introduction to Rey, to Finn, those characters. It did kind of feel like, maybe I'm alone out there with this, but I felt like it was kind of almost like I don't know the word, maybe like a welcome back in a way. Like, they did a good job as a welcome back to Star Wars, introducing Star Wars again to another generation. I thought they did a really good job. Just overall, I thought it was really, really good, and one of the better Star Wars films. Number 3 for me is Return of the Jedi. Just a solid film overall. Again, the war element, the lightsaber battles, how they ended it. I just thought it was very good. It starts off kind of cool, like where you almost feel like Luke's a little bit more dark. He's not, but it just kind of feels that way. That was just a really cool, almost different Star Wars film. It almost like it grew up kind of with you in that one. Number 4, A New Hope. Ironically, it's the 4th. Well, it's the first, but 4th in the episodic, numbers. I did put A New Hope under The Force Awakens. It's a really good film. And with the technology and everything, it is still a great concept. I don't know. There's something about it. I just don't put it towards the top. Then Rogue One, I put after that. Another really solid film with the war element. Really like that. The Vader scene is amazing, and I actually liked not having lightsabers. I really do like the lightsabers in the Force, but I liked the thought. I don't remember the character's name, but he's blind. But it's almost as if he can see, and because of the Force, and it's like, it introduced kind of a new element. I just really liked that film quite a bit. Then I have The Rise of Skywalker, actually. And the reason for that is, well, here's what we're left with. Revenge of the Sith, The Phantom Menace, Solo, Attack of the Clones, The Last Jedi. And that's actually my order. And yes, The Last Jedi is, in my opinion, the worst of the Star Wars films. I purposely put it at the bottom because when I think about The Last Jedi versus Attack of the Clones, I do kind of enjoy seeing all of the Jedi come out and fighting the drones. That's actually a really, really cool scene. The Last Jedi, I actually watched it. It hurt every time. I actually thought about going somewhere to get lashed. But if you ever watch Pirates of the Caribbean, when Will Turner is getting lashed by his father, I felt that because my father actually kept putting on The Last Jedi because it was on, I think it was on TNT. And I was like, oh my God. But so I watched it and I was like, overall, if I feel like it was on mute, it's not, and every once in a while, maybe I was cleaning dishes or something and I looked, it's not bad. But overall, it is atrocious. But anyway, The Rise of Skywalker, I put it as number 6 because it's another one like Empire Strikes Back where I feel like you could put it on and, it could be someone who enjoys Star Wars or likes Star Wars, has no idea what Star Wars is, and they're probably going to enjoy the film. That's another one where overall, it's a good, introduction, or it's like, yeah, this is Star Wars. It's got all of the elements. But overall, though, was the movie that good? Well, they do have the problems that we talked about on this channel, so it's not ranked higher. But I do think it is a good film, even though it's the last one. I do think it's a good film to introduce to somebody, or really just, if it's on cable or whatever, and you're like, I'll just put something on, nothing else is on. It's definitely one that you can sit down and watch, and it's still enjoyable. I have The Revenge of the Sith, like I said, after Rise of Skywalker. Final fight scene, that's really all I have to say about that one. The Phantom Menace, pod racing, is better than Solo, so I'd rather watch the pod racing part. Qui-Gon Jinn's pretty cool too, honestly. Solo's just Attack of the Clones, like I said, you got the Jedi in the war. Otherwise, all the rest is an abomination. And The Last Jedi, just what they've done, I can't allow myself to put it above Attack of the Clones. I just can't. What they did to Luke, Snoke, us. So that's my ranking right there. So Empire Strikes Back, The Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Rogue One, The Rise of Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith, The Phantom Menace, Solo, Attack of the Clones, and The Last Jedi.
So guys, let us know in the comments below. What do you think? What are your rankings of all 11 Star Wars movies? Let us know. Thank you all so much for watching all these videos. You guys truly, truly rock. We truly appreciate it, and we hope to see you all on the next video.